Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, like for our sisters, inshallah, just a little reminder. I'm not going to be too long, so I don't like to prolong lectures. And you know, my heart, for the most part, is in the classes and trying to be continuous with the classes as they are to be important as well. And my focus is on that aspect. Also, excuse me for my health, but a little reminder doesn't hurt to remind myself, and likewise our sisters in Islam. For that reason, I would like to give the reminder by starting off by saying firstly, in alhamdulillahi, nahmaduhu, wa nasta'inuhu, wa nastaghfiruh, wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina, wa sayyiati a'malina, man yahdihillah, fala mudilla lah, wa man yudlil, fala hadiya lah, wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه وبركاته عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلوات الله وسلامه وبركاته عليه وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As I give my salutations likewise to my sisters in Islam, and also likewise I would like to remind our sisters if they can, like I said, I'm not going to keep everyone long as I don't like prolonged talks and lectures. I try to say something straight to the point as the most best of speech, as the scholars used to say, and likewise that method that the scholars of Islam say, khairul kalama qalla wa dal. The best of speech is that which is the least and straight to the point. And that speech is that which is straight to the point is the best. Also, I would like to remind our sisters to not also, during a talk, and when the ahadith and the ayats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are recited, and likewise the ahadith and the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are being recited, then we have to give its utmost respect. Because if we don't and we speak over it, we don't want to be like those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tuqaddimu bayna yaday Allahi wa rasulih wattaqullah. Allah ta'ala says in his book, O you who believe, do not put yourself in front of Allah and his messenger. In front of those tafasir of this ayat is to say from them that which is of disrespect, meaning talking loud over the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam while he was alive and after his death, putting yourself not only by that which is of putting your hawa before his sunnah, but also likewise, if you hear the ayats in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should have the utmost respect and give the utmost reverence. So if Allah ta'ala, out of fear that he might cast some type of deviation in our heart as a result of disrespecting his religion or talking over it, due to the fact that the ayahs, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا ونحشره يوم القيامة أعمى قال رب لما حشرتني أعمى وقد كنت بصيرا قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها وكذلك اليوم تنسى. As Allah Ta'ala says, whoever turns away from my remembrance, for verily for him will be a hard life and a tight life, and we will gather him on the day of resurrection blind. And we say, oh my Lord, why do you gather me today blind when I used to see? He said, verily my signs and my ayat came to you and you forgotten, and likewise today you will be forgotten. So we asking our sisters to be attentive, and like I said, I'm not going to prolong the talk, inshallah bi'idhnillah, because it's just a little reminder, and these lectures to me are reminders. And for that reason, we just ask the sisters, out of love for each other, and out of us being brothers and sisters in al-Islam, that we respect the ayat and the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ by not speaking while they're being recited to us. So the first thing we want to talk about, as a lot of people might think that's a regular topic of something the sisters or fear Allah, which is important, absolutely, to the most uppermost extent. Rather, the fear of Allah Ta'ala is incumbent upon all of us. Rather, that is the wasiyah of those before us, as it is the wasiyah or that which is of the advice of today. And that which was then is likewise now in a religion, as the kalimat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never change. For the first thing we want to mention that which is in regards to two things we want to remind our sisters. First thing, like we talked about, fear of Allah Ta'ala. Fear Allah Ta'ala at the head of all of it, as we know, is to learn the monotheism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first thing. Also likewise to remind our sisters of that which is worse than shirk. As a person might ask himself, what is more worse than polytheism of Allah? Or setting up partners with Allah Ta'ala? What is more worse than that? And that's two things I want to break down quickly in this brief talk, inshallah. In this brief talk. Number one is that this. As we know, the statement of Allah, the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his book. First and foremost, the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّيَ الْفَوَاحِشِ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ وَالْإِثْمَ وَالْبَغْيَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ سُلْطَانًا وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, that he said, verily my Lord. Now listen to this ayah. And we're going to also bring the speech of Ibn al-Qayyim. So the number one advice, number one, that we want to say is the wasiyah or the nasa'ih that we want to give to our sisters, or the advice we want to give to them. Number one is this number one thing that I'm going to sum up and make it very concise. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, say that my Lord has made fawahish. Number one, verily my Lord has made fawahish unlawful. And we say fawahish, meaning those abominable acts which are done with the private parts. Whether that would they be of zina, or that which is of adultery, or that which is done other than that from homosexuality or likes of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, say to my Lord that he has made that which is fawahish, that which is an abominable act done with the private parts, he has made it unlawful. And number two in the ayah, قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّيَ الْفَوَاحِشِ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ. That which is done openly and secretly. And also in just evil, in sins and injustice. Notice in the ayah it says, then Allah started with that which is a fawahish, then what came in the second part of the ayah, ithm wal baghi, that which is of evil and an injustice. Then it says in the fourth part of the ayah, shirk, polytheism. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the last part in the ayah, وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, that you say upon Allah ta'ala that you have no knowledge of. As Ibn al-Qayyim in his book called I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in, Arab al-Alameen, which is a famous book in which it's incumbent upon us to acquire these books because they are from the great turath of that which is of the heritage of Islam, from that great scholar, that Imam Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, which everyone inshallah I'm sure that all familiar with. That great scholar where he said that Imam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rattaba al-muharramat arba' maratib. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has arranged that which he made unlawful in this ayah in 4 levels. He says, فَرَتَّبَهَا وَبَدَأَ بِأَسْهَلِهَا ثُمَّ ثَنَّ بِهَا إِلَى مَا هُوَ أَشَّدُّ تَحْرِيمًا مِنْهُ وَهُوَ الْإِثْمُ وَالْبَغْيُ ثُمَّ ثَلَّثَ بِمَا هُوَ أَشَّدُّ تَحْرِيمًا مِنْهُمَا وَهُوَ الشِّرْكُ بِهِ تبارك وتعالى ثُمَّ رَبَّعَ بِمَا هُوَ أَشَّدُّ مِنْ ذَلِكَ كُلِّهِ وَهُوَ أَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. What is worse than shirk? What is worse than more polytheism? We know that is the most disgusting, most filthiest, most abominable act that any human being could commit, which will come as a result of it being put in hell forever. There is no sin that can result of that instead of that which is of kufr, that will person land him in the hellfire forever, that which is of kufr and that which is of polytheism. What could be a sin more disgusting and more evil than that? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the ayah, he says he started off, Ibn al-Qayyim says he started that which is of the least level of evil, even though it's all evil. And it's incumbent upon a Muslim to stay away from all of it. He said that which is of the acts which were done with the private part, openly and secretly. Then Allah ta'ala started with the second level, where he said that which is of sin and transgression and injustice, that which is of being an evil person, that which is of trying to strive to be an upright person, doing that which is good, even if it's the smallest thing, which is to just smile at your sister, your brother's face. Then likewise was the fourth the third, which is to set up partners with Allah in His worship, then Allah mentioned the fourth. As Ibn al-Qayyim says, something which is worse than that, which is to say upon Allah that which you had no knowledge of. So speaking without knowledge and saying about this is halal, this is haram, this is such and such, without any type of dalil, is considered that which is more evil than that which is of shirk, as Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned here in I'lam al-Muwaqqi'een. That which is on these different ayat, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُكُمْ هذا حلال وهذا حرام لتفتروا على الله الكذب إن الذين يفترون على الله الكذب لا يفلحون متاع قليل ثم لهم عذاب أليم. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, He says, do not say that which your tongues describe. This is halal, this is haram, in order that you may say a lie upon Allah. Verily those who lie upon Allah will never be victorious. That which is temporary pleasure you are taking this dunya, then you have a painful torment in the hereafter. For that reason, ya ma'ashal al-akhawat, or my sisters, number one is, as we know, this is widespread in our communities in general. You'll find that our sisters, that sometimes they'll slip and they'll start to say things and saying upon Allah that which they have no knowledge of. And for that reason, we want to warn ourselves, all of us together, and this is nasiha for myself firstly, before my sisters, that all of us have to take and glorify and magnify the ayats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not to say upon Him who you have no knowledge of, because due to the ayat, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Isra, where He says, تبارك وتعالى, do not say or disclose that which you have no knowledge of, that you have no knowledge of. Verily the eyes, the sight, and the hearts, all of it is responsible to be questioned on the day of resurrection. All of it. For that reason, that's the first wasiyah we want to give to the sisters. Number one, that to say upon Allah that you have no knowledge of. And you noticed in the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it worse than shirk. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then likewise, we have another wasiyah, a little small advice we want to give to our sisters, in which I'm sure that maybe some of them are not familiar with this matter. And I want to say it in light of two hadith, and then I'm going to leave it off, inshallah. Like I said, I'm not going to make the talk long, but only talking about 10 minutes now. So that reason, the second one we want to speak about is that which is pertaining to this hadith. And this is important dua, and if all of us can memorize it, then it's something that will be something of a benefit tremendously for us. Which is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is collected in the Tabarani. The Prophet ﷺ has said an authentic hadith, and he taught us all these different types of invocations, which is something will be a benefit for us. The invocation of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min jarisu wa min zawjin tushayyibuni qabl mashib wa min waladin yakuna alayya rabban wa min malin yakuna alayya adhaban wa min khalilin makir عينه تراني وقلبه يرعاني فإن رأى حسنة دفنها وإن رأى سيئة أذاعها, which is collected in Tabarani in his book called Dua, وحسنه الإمام الألباني رحمه الله رحمة واسعة ونسأل الله يدخله في فسيح جناته. Ameen. As he said in that hadith of the Prophet, listen to this dua. Listen to how deep it is. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this dua, some of you may not be. Listen to how beneficial this dua is. And I'm sure some of these sisters might even say, Subhanallah. The Prophet ﷺ, and this shows the completeness and the beauty of our religion. How the Prophet ﷺ did not leave off any good, except that he indicated that which is of good that will bring us close to Allah, except that he ﷺ, that he informed us of it and directed us to it. Where he ﷺ taught us this dua. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from an evil neighbor, and from a spouse that will make me old before I become old. From a spouse that will make me old before I become old. وَمِن زَوْجٍ تُشَيِّبُنِي قَبْلَ الْمَشِيبِ. Now listen, this doesn't stop there. Listen to the rest of the dua. وَمِن وَلَدٍ يَكُونَ عَلَيَّ رَبًّا. And from a child who will be like a master over me. And from that which is of wealth, that will be a punishment for me. And also likewise, من عذاب ومن ما يكون عليه عذاب ومن خليل ماكر. And from a close, intimate friend that tries to get close to me, that he sees, من خليل ماكر, that his eyes see me, but his heart is watching. If he sees something that which is of a hasana, if he sees that which is some good for me, he doesn't care about it, doesn't give a hoot about it. And if he sees something from evil in me, he propagates it amongst the people. This tremendous dua of the Prophet ﷺ, which is incumbent upon us to memorize and say it when we have the chance, especially those awqat of istijaba, especially during those times when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers those invocations. For that reason, ya ma'ashal akhawat, the point of the hadith, this hadith has tremendous benefits, which we don't have time to elaborate on every part of it. What I want to take time out to extract in the hadith is the part where it says that a child will be a lord over me. That hadith also was elaborated in another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which everyone inshallah is familiar with, which is the hadith of Jibreel. When Jibreel came, and that very handsome man, and we know that sometimes he used to come in the form of a human being to the Prophet ﷺ, and they used to say that he used to come in the form of Dihya al-Kalbi, that great Sahabi named Dihya al-Kalbi radiyallahu anhu. And he asked those questions to the Messenger of Allah, and a person might be asking, what is you talking, where are you going with this in the hadith of Jibreel? How's that connected with the hadith and the dua that you just mentioned? Listen very closely. This or that which is in the hadith of Jibreel, the Prophet ﷺ was asked, when he came and asked that question, or those questions, and the Sahaba kept finding it strange. How is this man confirming what the Prophet ﷺ is saying? Sadaqt. You have spoken the truth. You have spoken the truth. They're looking at him like, how are you confirming what the Prophet ﷺ is saying? Not knowing at first that he was Jibreel. What happened, the Prophet ﷺ was asked about Islam with Iman or Ihsan. Then if you go to the bottom of the hadith, it says in the bottom, أخبرني عن الساعة. Inform me about the hour. When will the establishment of the hour be? Of the day of resurrection? When will the establishment of the hour be? The Prophet ﷺ, as we know, said in hadith, the one who's asking, or the one who's being asked, meaning myself, is no more knowledgeable of it than the one who's asking. Then it says in the next part of the narration, as Jibreel knew, and everyone knows, inshallah has the i'tiqad, the belief, no one knows about the hour except Allah. No one knows the establishment of the hour except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. So when it comes in the last part of the hadith, then Jibreel had moved away to ask Tayyib, tell me about its signs. Tell me about its signs. And the Prophet ﷺ gave the answer, where he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, and talid al-amatu rabbaha. Another narration says, and talid al-amatu rabbataha. وأن ترى الحفاة العراة العالة رعاء الشاء يتطاولون في البنيان. As it says in the hadith, he said that you will find when the slave female concubine gives birth to her own master. In another narration, that the female concubine, meaning the female slave, will give birth to her own female master. In another narration, her own male master. What does this hadith mean? First and foremost, is we don't have time to get inside of all of the details. We know that the hour is close. The signs of the day of resurrection are taking place right in front of us, whether or not we fail to realize it or not. Those who possess knowledge know that these signs are right in front of us. And we know that the ulama break them down to different types. Some of them say that the signs, some of them make them 2 categories, and some of them make them 3 categories. One of the categories is number 1. He says, as al-alamat al-ula. Some of them say al-alamat al-wusta, and then some of them say al-alamat al-azima. Or those, the first signs is that which is the first sign, number 1. The first signs. Number 2, the middle signs. Number 3, the major and the magnificent great signs of the day of resurrection. Some of them give and put 2 categories inside of 1, and they say that it's al-alamat al-sughra, the minor signs. And then some of them say al-alamat al-kubra, meaning the major signs. How is this from the signs of the hour? As we know that the Prophet ﷺ was from those signs. And from the signs that we see at the day of resurrection, isn't it us that's been authenticated in authentic hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, from the signs of the hours, taqarub al-azman, time will start passing by very quickly. And we see this now in front of us. How many times did we say Ramadan? It seemed like it was just last week. We almost at the end of Shawwal now. It's the 20th of Shawwal. We're starting the next month soon. Time is passing by quickly. For that reason, the Prophet ﷺ elaborated on this matter of, from the signs of the hours that a female concubine will give birth to her own master. We know that the Prophet ﷺ was from those signs. As he ﷺ said, بُعِدْتُ بِالسَّاعَةِ كَهَاتَيْنِ, that I have been sent during the closeness of the hour, just like this. And he coupled ﷺ his index finger with his middle finger. Some of the ulama of tafsir, they say that the meaning of that which is of the signs, some of them, because someone may think, okay, the Prophet ﷺ was sent in regards to when he died, والسلام, all the way up to the day of resurrection. It seems like that's a long time. And we say that's incorrect. In regards to that which is elapsed and how quickly it's passed by, then that time is very short. So that's one of the tafsir of the meaning. Some of the ulama mention is saying that the hour is lasiqatun bi bi'ath an-nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the hour it clings to the sending of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to all of creation, meaning that there is no prophet that will come after him. There will be no prophet that will come after him alayhi salatu wasalam, especially with that which is of a sharia. Rather, the sharia that Isa will come with when he descends in the latter days and times, when Jesus, son of Mary, comes back, he will rule by the sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in actuality, the final prophet to all humanity is Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So for that reason, you see that which is of these signs when he will come, of that when he died alayhi salatu wasalam. Once he died, then all those other signs started appearing. And from those signs that the Prophet ﷺ have formed us of that which is of the minor signs, or that which is of those first signs, is kathratul harj, an abundance of killing and murder and bloodshed. And I think that everyone sees that manifested right in front of us. Look at Syria. Look at that which is taking place even here in America, even all over the world. Bloodshed, people being killed. And we know some narrations have said one will be killed, he will not know the reason why he's killed. Kathrat al-Harj, the Prophet ﷺ had also mentioned of that which is also that which is a Kathrat al-Jahl, Kathrat al-Fitan. The Prophet ﷺ said an abundance of that which is of trials and tribulations will take place eventually. And the most greatest of all trials and tribulations is one being tested in his religion, which is the most dangerous. One having doubt in his religion, or one being tried and tested in his sound, upright creed, which is the most precious value, or the most valuable thing that a Muslim can possess, is his belief system. And it not being tainted with something that which is of bid'ah, or that which is of shirk, or something of doubt. For verily those type of affairs, those are the most dangerous. Because a person that dies on the other way of Islam will be in hell forever. And the Prophet ﷺ talked about this hadith, which is in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ had made this clear. بادروا إلى الأعمال فتنا كقطع الليل المظلم يصبح الرجل فيه مؤمنا ويمسي كافرا ويمسي مؤمنا ويصبح كافرا يبيع دينه بعرض من الدنيا. And this is exactly what's taking place today. The Prophet ﷺ said, hasten towards doing good deeds. Hasten towards doing good. Waste your time. Qila wa qal, such and such. Is my husband getting married today? Is he? Sister, did you hear? Did you hear so and so? Did you hear? Astaghfirullah. He did that. A'udhu billah. Badiru ila al-a'mali fitnan. Hasten towards doing good. Hasten towards doing good. It's going to be fitan. Just as like something, as we want to roughly translate, like a thief in the night. Very dark in the night. A person will come upon the morning as a believer, come upon the evening as a disbeliever, and likewise vice versa. What's the reason? He sells out his religion for something of the dunya, some commodity of the dunya. You see this every day taking place, even with people who so-called say that they're calling to Islam. See them selling out their religion for some money. It's happening right in front of you. The Prophet ﷺ also talked about from the signs of the hours, kathratul jahl, an abundance of ignorance. As I think that's self-explanatory what we see. Rather that we think that we have some of our great scholars, and may Allah preserve them. Those scholars that we still have these days, we think that we're having a lot of khair. A person has to be scared. Why? In comparison to all this whole earth of that which is of different countries, some lands don't even have a scholar. In comparison to that which is of the evil people who are leading the people astray, and that which is the correct, sound aqeedah which the good scholars possess, those who are leading the people astray are more. So in actuality, we're in a state of danger. When you see that the great scholars of that which is from Ahl Sunnah can be only counted probably on their hands. And that which is the people of evil can be in that which is of thousands, maybe hundreds. So the Prophet ﷺ gave that which is of the reality, that which is from the signs likewise of the hours, kathratul jahl, an abundance of ignorance being widespread. For that reason, ya ma'ashar al-akhawat, you see that which is of these ahadith, the Prophet ﷺ gave the signs of that which is of the hour. And from them, as we want to get back to the love, and I'm going to explain this quickly. Well, the Prophet ﷺ, and also from the signs of the hour, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, where he said, ﷺ, kathrat al-nisa wa qilat al-rijal. There'll be a time, there'll be abundance of women and a small amount of men, which is something that's taking place now. Wars eat up men, leaving children, leaving women. It's taking place right in front of us. Fighting and murder, all of it eats up the men. All of that is taking place, which is from the signs of the hour likewise. For that which I want to get back to is this last part. What is the meaning of the statement collected about that dua that we talked about, Tabarani, linked to that which is of the child being the Lord over me? Listen to this explanation of this hadith. Number one, that which will take place of the explanation of this hadith, that the slave concubine will give birth to her own master. Or the female concubine will give birth to her own master. One of the tafsir, listen very closely to this tafsir. He says, إنه يكثر بين المسلمين التسري من كثرة الجواري والإماء ويلدنا ويكون الولد بمثابة السيد لأمه لأنه ينتسب إلى والده ووالدته مال لوالده فيكون بمثابة والده سيدا لوالدته التي هي الأمة. قال بعضهم عندما يجيز بيع أم الولد أنها ربما تباع هذه الأمة بعد أن أنجب وربما تهان. وقال بعضهم كناية عن العقوق. That's what we want to talk about also, and that's going to blow everyone's mind probably when they hear the explanation of this hadith. Number one, the tafsir of this hadith. He says it will become widespread amongst the Muslims at-tasarri min kathrat al-jawari, be captives from an abundance and a lot of that which is of female concubines. This has already taken place. وَيَلِدْنَا, and they will give birth, and the child will be at the level as if he's the master over her. Because when a person takes as a captive of that which is due to those wars, when the child is born, he's free. Because at the end of the day, he will be ascribed to that which is of the father, of course we know, the mother, but the wealth of that which is of the child is all falls under the Sayyid, the one who's the father or the birth father of that particular, or of that son that will come from that woman, or that captive, excuse me. So when he's born, or she is born out of that type of her being a captive and him being her master, then the slave is born free. He said, well, will come as a result of it that one day he might be set free, and what will happen one day, he will buy his mom and not realize it. فَتَكُونَ عِنْدَهُمَا بِمَثَابَةِ الْجَارِيَةِ وَالْخَادِمَةِ, and she will become at the level of that which is of a female concubine, and also one that will service him. And she will be used, and likewise also, excuse me, everyone, also likewise, then he will become over like he's an authority over her. Excuse me. So that's number one tafsir. Number two tafsir that some of them say from the one who says that it's permissible, which is not, to when a woman with female concubine gives birth, it's not permissible to sell her. It's not. To separate between the child and the mom. What will happen is that someone will do this, and the mother will be bought, and she'll be sold, and then she'll give birth, of course, and then likewise, does someone not realize that's his mom? Because they've been separated for years, they're not realizing it. Then he will purchase her, and he will become like her master over his own mother. Now this is the point of Mawdi' al-Shahid, or the point of reference I want to talk about. Listen closely to this part. A lot of people don't realize this tafsir. He says the last part is yakthuru al-uquq, disrespect of parents. It will become an abundance of disrespect of parents in the last part of time. Whereas the child will use his two parents. Just as the female slave is used and the slave is used, the captive. He will disrespect them. وَيُهِينَهُمَا وَرُبَّمَنْ أَسَاءَ إِلَيْهِمَا. He will disrespect them. He will bring them down, talk down to them, speak evil to them, disrespect them, and perhaps he will hit them. How many know that in our homes that we've seen daughters smack moms, beat up moms, start disrespecting them? Because we know that the daughter probably starting to smell herself now. How many stories have we heard? A lot. For Ahl al-Ilm has mentioned this. هذه المعاني الثلاثة. They mentioned these three meanings. He said لهذه الجملة ولا بأس. Listen to what Sheikh Muhammad Amal al-Jami says in that which is of. Gathering, he said all three of these tafasir are correct. And listen to what he said. ولا بأس أن تتوافر كلها وتقع. وبالتجارب وقعت كلها. هذه من علامة الساعة. He says, and from experience, he said all three has taken place. And these are from the signs of the hour. From a person or a child being at the level of that which he is of, running his parents. For that reason, sisters and also brothers, we have to start grabbing a hold of our children, being moderate, being middle course. It's a time to let them do recreation, and likewise it's a time to discipline them. We have to gather between both affairs, and we know that our religion is a middle, moderate religion. And the problem in our communities is you find that they're either too far to the left or too far to the what? To the right. And that's even in the aspect of i'tiqad with ahl al-dalala. If you go back to i'tiqad, it's the same thing. If you go back to the people of Balta, they fall to the exact same thing. Either they're too far to the left or they're too far to the right. Either too hot, like the Haddadiyya, too cold, like the Ikhwan al-Muslimin. Too lax in his religion, or he's too what? Too strict. Not middle course. That's the problem with everyone with Shaitan plays games. With everyone. Either he's too hot, too cold. Hot, too cold. Hot, too cold. For that reason we say, in disciplining your children so these hadith doesn't actualize in our homes. When it's time to discipline your child, ask Allah Ta'ala to strengthen you. There's a dua for that, which shows the completeness of our religion. When the Prophet said, Allahumma ni'udhu bika min al-ham. Listen to this dua. Wal-hazn, wal-ajiz, wal-kasal, wal-bukhl, wal-juban, wal-dala'i dayn, wa-ghalabat al-rijal. Another narration, dala'i al-rijal. The Prophet said, Oh Allah, he seek refuge in you from grief, sadness, ham, wal-hazn, and also ajiz and kasal, and not being able, and also being lazy, and being stingy, and also being a coward. Being a coward. Prophet said, Jubun. Also being a coward. When the time comes for you, put your foot down, you don't do it. I'm too scared. I don't want to harm him. I don't want to. No, if you do not discipline your child in this instance, you're going to corrupt him. Would you rather see him in jail later or dead as a result of you not disciplining him now? Which one do you want to have it? We have to gather between that which is of being moderate. When it's time to discipline him, discipline him. The Prophet ﷺ did that. And Ashab Nabi ﷺ likewise did that. And when it was time for recreation, to reward him, it's time to reward him. Good job. And you give them that which is of a reward in order to show that you do appreciate them, that which they are doing, of carrying out what you tell them. And all this as far as tarbiyah and raising our children. If you don't do this, you will fall under the lines of what the Prophet ﷺ had mentioned this hadith, where your child will become like your Lord, where he runs you. And we see this. Mother going out, I want this, mommy. Go out, and she go, okay. Mom, I want that one. No, okay. No, I want this, mom. Oh, okay. But now your child's your Lord? Runs you? No, I run the house. This is what you're going to eat. This is what you're going to do. That's it. This is my house. I run it. Not the child. Child doesn't dictate nothing. It's a child. He needs to be cultivated. He needs to be raised. He needs to be taught right and wrong. For that reason, brothers and sisters, we remind them of this little advice I wanted to give to everyone. And I want to also remind myself, and inshallah, bi'idhnillah, it's a good reminder for all of us. And I hope that Allah Ta'ala rewards everyone for coming out and listening and also keeping it down, because I notice a lot of functions. Every time you hear women, that's all you hear. Boom, 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 boom. That's all you hear. And I really appreciate that the sisters took their time to concentrate and focus on these brief minutes. And I hope that the sisters also likewise will keep doing so. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب إليك.